This video will help you understand how to write about poetry for the English Literature examinations. You've got two examinations for English Literature. The first exam is on Tuesday the 20th of May 2014 in the morning. This exam asks you to answer one question on An Inspector Calls and one question on Of Mice and Men. Exam 2 will take place on Thursday the 22nd of May in the afternoon. In this exam, you must answer one question about poetry from the relationship cluster and answer the question about the unseen poem. Now, how to tackle the poetry exam. That's the second exam. So part 1 is a question about the relationship cluster. Now, it's very important to remember these points. You should choose one question from the two that are offered that are about the relationship cluster. That's a cluster that we've studied in school, and you must only choose one of those questions to answer. The examiner will expect you to write about 2.5 sides in response to this question. So 2.5 sides is the way to get a C grade and above. You need to write about these poems using PEED. Now, the examiner's been trained to look for several things in your writing. So they want to see that you're writing about themes, feelings and ideas in the poems and comparing them with another poem. They want to see that you're writing about the methods that the poet has used to express these themes, feelings and ideas, and then compare those methods with those in another poem. They want to see that you can write about the structure of the poem and compare that structure with another poem too. It sounds a lot to take in, but it's easy if you can remember TMS. So T is themes, feelings and ideas, M is the methods, S is the structure. And remember, we've got to keep comparing those across both two poems. So you can plan your essay answer by remembering TMS. So imagine that you're in the exam now and that you've chosen the following question. How do the poets show feelings between family members in Brothers and one other poem? Well, where to start? Firstly, really important, choose another poem that you know well and that involves feelings between family members. Recap by looking through the poems to choose the best one for you. I always go to the contents page and recap in my own head about what each poem's about, and then flick to that poem and have a quick read through of the ones I've chosen and choose the best one. So you've got to write about brothers in this question and one other poem. So choose the best poem that links to family members and the one that you know well. So then make a plan using TMS, themes, method and structure. So for example, this looks quite a complicated grid, but all it is a little table that's 4 rows by 3 columns. So 4 by 3. And in this column, in this row, we write themes, feelings and ideas, methods and structure, and then the names of the two poems. So then we can just simply fill it in with all of our ideas. So themes, feelings and ideas. Well, in Brothers, there's dislike and resentment towards the younger brother, but some love from the younger brother towards the older brother, and so on. Just fill it in with all of your ideas very, very quickly. Only take about 5 to 10 minutes at the time to do this. Then we can write about the poems using TMS and PED. So I've taken the first section of the table about themes, feelings and ideas, and I've chosen to write about how the older brother resents having his younger brother around. So here's my PEED, and it's all colour-coded, so my point is yellow. So in Brothers, the poet Andrew Forster shows that the older brother resents having to have his younger brother around. Then my evidence is white. This is shown when he begins the poem with the words "saddled with you" to describe how, and I've put my explanation in with the same sentence, but I've colour-coded the explanation in pink to show where it begins. He has to allow his younger brother to come with him to the football match on a Saturday afternoon. Now some deeper exploration. The verb saddled makes it clear that the older brother does not want the younger brother to be there and feels as if he is stuck with him. Now my deep thinking, and deep thinking is often useful to link it to social and historical context perhaps. So this was probably a real life memory of Forster's, as he often writes about his real life and his own memories. It's also one that the reader can identify with, as many older brothers and sisters dislike having to look after their younger siblings. It could also be a point here where you link it to the next poem, or your deeper thinking just could be a further comparison between the two poems. So then I've gone on to Nettles, and this time the poem isn't about resentment, it's about love between the father and the son. There's some resentment towards the Nettles, but I've chosen to say that there's a different feeling between the family members. However, in Nettles, Scannell shows love for a family member, not resentment. In the poem, he describes how upset he is due to the fact that his son has been hurt and wants to help him feel better. Now my evidence. This is shown when he begins the poem with the words, "My son, aged 3, fell in a nettle bed." The very factual way that he states this outlines what has happened almost in a shocked tone, followed by the explanation that we soothed him. It's fine to put two little quotes in to explain what you're thinking. This shows love as a father is shocked by the incident and wishes to help his son. The verb soothed, so this is my exploration, makes it clear that he wants to stop the pain and cares very deeply for him. So deeper thinking, and now I'm comparing in my deeper thinking, which is a really useful thing to do. Like brothers, this was probably a real life memory of Scannell's, as he too often writes about real life and his own memories. It is also one that the reader can identify with as parents and as a child. Now by working through each one of these, then that's the way to make sure that I've ticked all the boxes that the examiner's looking for. I'm writing about the themes, feelings and ideas, the methods, the structure that the poets used, and then I'm writing about both poems in terms of those things. So hopping from this poem, a PED here, to that poem, and a PEEED there. Methods, a PEEED here and a PEEED there. Structure, a PEED about that, and again. And that's a really simple way to be able to get to writing at least 2.5 sides. You'll probably find that you actually want to write more. One final tip is just to make sure that you don't go over the time allowed in the examination for writing about part 1 of the poetry. Right, keep checking back to see videos that explain what the poems are about in relation to TMS. They'll be updated regularly.